This first starts out with just the finished piece, and a couple of them that have the same symbol on a 3D piece. And the way that's created is you're just using the rectangle tool to create the part, placing the type on a type block right there, and you can modify it with the character, locating the pieces to place the different fonts. This is just a Helvetica font to place in there, lowering it, and then again talked a little bit about the tracking and the kerning. The tracking is when you create the space between all of the characters, and the kerning is just when you're doing a couple of the characters. So here you can see that you can modify it. The space between the two lines of type is the leading, and here you can just change the vertical or horizontal scale and then filling in the background. So you can build this up pretty quickly and just using the arrange to send things front to back and the text, and you're creating shapes just with the stroke and building those together. And now you have the text. Now the only thing that you want to try to align everything centered to each other, and then trying to use what they call the type and the tabs. And this allows you to set tabs for the type to send across, for in this case the cost of the house as it comes through. And it has left, center, right, decimal point tabs, and you can just modify everything as it cuts across this section. Bottom part is centered, so you have to reset that in the paragraph option. And then doing the bottom part where you can minimize the font overall point size, and then do the same with the section. And here you can highlight each piece and then use the leading just to adjust it, or two lines just to adjust that. So it's a good example of setting up all the different fonts and the character attributes and the paragraph attributes for both, and playing that all together. And then once you have everything correctly laid out, you're just going to select everything, possibly duplicate it, and then just create it into a symbol. And that gives you everything that's here. Just kind of positioning the best you can. Making a copy of it. Here's just the section of the outside edge with a light color, and duplicating it, and then making the part have a symbol that goes right on top of that mapped art. Now, once you have it, you can change anything in the attributes. You can change the perspective of the card, rotate it, help you with the composition, the lighting that goes with this, and then doing a little bit of the shading. Here it's just putting a little bit of contour on the edges and setting that piece up. And once you duplicate it, you can go into the symbol, duplicate the symbol, and just modify this section. So there's two of them, two symbols. And this one's just going to edit, taking the font and just changing it to the other type. And now when you update it and place it, you have that whole symbol ready to go. So you have two of the same pieces that are pretty close, except for the title, and just setting this off on its side. And you can even take that particular section just with a little cast shadow, bending that on the back, setting it to the back, and changing the opacity to 50% and multiplying it so it shows through, and then just rearranging it to the background under the Align panel. And that gives you that piece. So you can see how easy it is. Once you do this measurement, you can actually create it, and then using the software, just update the symbol and create an entire piece. So that's what these segments are in the orange. Gives you a couple of different varieties.